As we journey through life, especially after reaching significant milestones like turning 60, it becomes even more apparent just how valuable our time is. Each decision we make about how to spend that time plays a crucial role in shaping our happiness, health, and overall sense of well-being. This stage of life invites us to pause, reflect, and consider the changes we can embrace to live more intentionally. The habits, commitments, and priorities that once seemed essential may no longer align with who we are or where we want to be. In fact, by letting go of certain things, we can open ourselves to a deeper sense of fulfillment, peace, and joy. Today, we're sharing 11 powerful and life-enhancing shifts that have made a profound impact in this stage of life. Decisions that have enriched our journey in ways we never expected. Let's explore how releasing what no longer serves us can bring newfound clarity and purpose as we step into this empowering phase. 1. Quitting work for the sake of working. In our younger years, many of us are swept up in the relentless pursuit of success, chasing promotions, pay raises, or a sense of stability. It's so easy to become consumed by the grind, the pressure to constantly achieve, and the fear of falling behind. We've all been there, working long hours, driven by a desire to keep up or get ahead. But as we age, especially when we reach that milestone of 60, something shifts. We start to realize that working just for the sake of staying busy, or because it's all we've known, doesn't serve us anymore. The endless hustle may have once been a badge of honor, but now it can leave us feeling physically exhausted and mentally drained, pulling us away from the people and moments that truly matter. As we grow older, we begin to see work through a different lens. The question shifts from "how much can I achieve?" to "why am I still doing this?" It's no longer about being constantly productive, but about finding intention and purpose in the work we choose to do. When we pause and ask ourselves, what purpose does this extra time at work really serve? We may realize that the answers have changed. If the work we're doing doesn't align with our passions or contribute to something meaningful, we should give ourselves permission to step back. It's not about quitting work altogether. It's about reevaluating how we spend our time and what we want to achieve in this next chapter of life. Think about it. Our most valuable asset at this stage isn't the hours we spend behind a desk. It's the time we have to enjoy life. It's the time we can invest in our health, in exploring hobbies we once set aside, and in being fully present with the people we care about. Those meaningful conversations with loved ones, those moments spent in nature, the freedom to pursue long-lost passions. These are the things that nourish our souls in ways that work can't. When we give ourselves permission to shift our focus from just being busy to truly living, we open the door to a deeper sense of balance and fulfillment. This is the richness we should strive for. Experiences, relationships, and a sense of peace that no paycheck can provide. By embracing this new mindset, we can find a more profound joy and contentment in the everyday. We can live intentionally, choosing to fill our days with the things that bring us genuine happiness rather than the relentless demands of work. So let's honor the journey we've been on and the hard work that's gotten us here, but let's also be brave enough to step back, reflect, and redefine what success means for us now. After all, our time and well-being are our most precious forms of wealth. Group 2. Quitting mindless spending. In today's world, it's incredibly easy to get swept up in a cycle of constant spending. Everywhere we look, there are advertisements, sales, and messages that tell us buying more will make us feel better, look better, or live better. It's become second nature to reach for our wallets, to click add to cart, and to convince ourselves that this next purchase will somehow add to our happiness. But deep down, many of us know this isn't true. Think about it. How often do we buy something only to feel the excitement wear off a few days later, leaving us right where we started? This constant pursuit of things can leave us feeling empty, despite the promise of fulfillment that consumer culture sells us. So how do we break free from this cycle? It starts by becoming aware of our habits. For many of us, spending has become something we do without even thinking, a kind of reflex. We see something shiny and new, and before we know it, we've made the purchase. But what if we paused? What if we took a moment to ask ourselves whether we really need that item? Is it going to bring lasting joy, or is it just a quick fix for boredom, stress, or comparison to others? By cultivating this awareness, we can start to take back control over our financial decisions and stop letting them control us. We're not saying to never buy anything, far from it, but we're talking about making our spending more purposeful, more thoughtful. When we talk about quitting mindless spending, it's not about adopting a mindset of scarcity or deprivation. It's not about never treating ourselves or feeling guilty for enjoying life. Instead, it's about shifting our perspective so that we value experiences and things that actually bring us meaning, that align with who we are, and that enhance our lives in real ways. It's about recognizing that our worth doesn't come from what we own, but from who we are and how we live. The things we choose to invest in should reflect that. Whether it's spending on a memorable experience with loved ones, something that enriches our personal growth, or a product that truly adds to our well-being, the key is to be intentional. This shift in mindset can be incredibly empowering. Once we start being more mindful with our spending, we often realize how much energy we used to waste chasing after things we thought would make us happy, but didn't. We might discover that when we stop chasing the next new gadget, designer clothes, or the latest trend, we free up space in our lives for what truly matters. And that space brings clarity. Clarity about what we genuinely value. And what brings us real contentment. We become more attuned to the things that actually nourish our spirit, like deep connections with others, personal growth, and time spent doing what we love. Financial mindfulness isn't just about saving money. It's about shifting the way we see the world around us. When we're not constantly bombarded by the need to consume, we can focus on other areas of our lives that bring fulfillment. Suddenly, it's easier to appreciate the little things, a peaceful walk in nature, a meaningful conversation, or a moment of stillness. We start to see that life's greatest joys often come from experiences that don't require spending at all. It's this awareness that allows us to live more freely, without the burden of feeling like we always need more to be satisfied. Being more intentional with how we spend, we may also find that our relationship with money improves. We're no longer using it to fill emotional gaps or chase temporary highs. Instead, we use it as a tool to enhance our lives in meaningful ways. This doesn't mean we stop enjoying material things. It means we start appreciating the things we choose to invest in more deeply. There's a sense of satisfaction that comes from knowing that each purchase was made with thought and purpose, rather than impulse or habit. We can enjoy the things we have because they serve a real purpose in our lives. Quitting mindless spending is a journey toward greater awareness and intentionality. It's a practice that unfolds over time as we get better at recognizing the difference between what brings temporary pleasure and what brings lasting fulfillment. With each mindful decision we make, we reclaim a little more of our power. We realize that true happiness doesn't come from the endless pursuit of things, but from living a life that reflects our values, our passions, and our relationships. This kind of living isn't just more financially sound, It's more joyful, more peaceful, and more aligned with what truly matters in life. 3. Quitting stressing over the small stuff. Life, as we all know, is fleeting, and it can feel like we're racing through it, holding on to things that don't actually matter in the grand scheme of things. Picture a glass of water. If you hold it for a minute, it's light. Hold it for an hour, and it starts to feel heavy. Now imagine holding it for days. Your arm would start shaking, and eventually you'd feel overwhelmed by the weight. Stress works the same way. The longer we carry small burdens, the heavier they become, until they begin to weigh down our spirit. Let's remind ourselves that not every little bump in the road deserves our attention, because sometimes, by focusing too much on the pebbles, we lose sight of the beautiful landscape around us. There was a time when we all probably found ourselves getting worked up over minor inconveniences. Maybe it was traffic on the way to an important meeting, or perhaps a disagreement with a friend that left us fuming. These moments, although frustrating at the time, are often just fleeting events in the big picture of our lives. It's like being in a boat on a vast ocean, and instead of enjoying the journey, we obsess over a tiny leak that isn't even threatening to sink the ship. But as we grow and experience more of life, we come to understand that stressing over these small things not only drains our energy, but it also robs us of the precious present moments. It's as if we're giving away pieces of our peace for something that won't even matter a year from now. There's great power in learning to shift our focus from what we can't control to what we can control. We can't control traffic jams or every misunderstanding, just as we can't control the weather or the passing of time. But what we can control is our reaction to these things. Instead of letting them dictate our mood or our day, we have the choice to let go. Think of it as clearing space in our mental closet. Removing the clutter of small worries frees up room for the things that truly bring us joy and fulfillment. Embracing life's uncertainties rather than resisting them allows us to flow with the current rather than struggle against it. In letting go of the need for perfection, we unlock a deeper, unexpected sense of peace. None of us are perfect, and life certainly isn't either. We've all heard the saying, life is what happens when we're busy making other plans. When we let go of the desire to control every little detail, we begin to notice the beauty in imperfection. It's in those unplanned moments, the spontaneous laughter, the surprises, and even the mistakes, that life shows us its true color. So as we move forward together, let's agree to release the stress that comes with the small stuff, and instead, open ourselves up to the joy and calm that comes from focusing on what truly matters. 4. Quitting neglecting self-care. It's easy to fall into the habit of neglecting our own well-being, thinking that putting others first all the time is what we're supposed to do. We're conditioned to believe that self-care is some kind of indulgence or selfish act. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Self-care is not about being self-centered. It's about ensuring we have the strength, the energy, and the emotional stability to show up for others and for ourselves. How can we expect to pour into someone else if our own cup is empty? Many of us are caught in the cycle of putting ourselves last. We get busy, life gets hectic, and suddenly we're too tired, too overwhelmed, or too stressed to even think about taking a breather. And the next thing we know, we're burned out, disconnected, and running on fumes. The mistake we make is thinking that this is just how life works, that this constant state of exhaustion is normal. But we have to ask ourselves, what kind of life are we really living if we're constantly feeling drained? What if instead, we started seeing self-care as essential maintenance, the same way we take care of everything else in our lives? Just like a car needs fuel to run, we need to fuel ourselves with rest, joy, and nourishment, physically, mentally, and emotionally. When we talk about self-care, it's not just about pampering ourselves or treating ourselves to something nice every once in a while. It's about creating habits and routines that restore us, that bring us peace, and that help us function at our best. Whether it's spending 10 minutes in quiet meditation, going for a walk, or just making time for something that brings us happiness, these moments add up. They create balance in our lives. And when we have balance, everything else falls into place more naturally. We have more patience, more energy, and more resilience to handle life's challenges. As we get older, this becomes even more important. We've spent years, maybe even decades, focusing on everyone else, whether it's our careers, our families, or the people who rely on us. But as time goes on, we start to realize that if we don't take care of ourselves, there won't be much left to give to those we care about. Think about it. When we're stressed, exhausted, or unhappy, how does that affect our relationships? How does it affect the way we handle challenges or the way we experience joy? Self-care is not just about feeling good for ourselves. It's about showing up as the best version of ourselves for the people we love and the life we want to live. We can't underestimate the power of simple, consistent self-care practices. Take gratitude, for example. It's one of the easiest ways to shift our mindset and improve our emotional health. When we take the time to recognize the good in our lives, it changes our perspective. It brings us back to the present moment and helps us appreciate what we have instead of always focusing on what's missing or what's wrong. The same goes for making time for the activities that light us up, whether that's reading, gardening, spending time with friends, or doing something creative. These aren't just hobbies, they are ways we reconnect with ourselves and recharge our spirits. Our bodies are carrying us through this life, and they need attention just like our minds and hearts do. Whether it's eating nourishing foods, moving in ways that feel good, or simply getting enough sleep, physical self-care lays the foundation for everything else. When we're healthy and strong physically, we can handle stress better. We think more clearly, we have more energy, and we're more equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. Number 5, quitting overcommitting to others. We've all been there, saying yes to things we don't genuinely want to do because we don't want to disappoint someone. Or maybe we feel obligated. It's that feeling of guilt or responsibility that pushes us to agree to commitments that drain us instead of energizing us. But as we move through life, particularly as we start to recognize that our time is limited and precious, something clicks. We begin to see that our well-being matters just as much, if not more, than the need to constantly meet the expectations of others. When we realize this, we start to understand that every yes we offer should be something that brings us closer to joy, to fulfillment, and to the values we hold dear. Now, this shift doesn't happen overnight, and it's not always easy to prioritize ourselves, especially when we've spent years, maybe even decades, putting others first. But what if we began to ask ourselves, what do we truly want? What brings meaning and depth into our lives? When we learn to say no to the things that don't align with these values, we begin to make space for what matters most. It's not about selfishness, but about honoring the life we've worked so hard to build. We start to feel the freedom of choosing relationships and activities that genuinely enrich us, that challenge us in the right ways, and that help us grow. This shift empowers us to show up more authentically in our connections with others, and when we're being true to ourselves, we offer a kind of presence that's much more meaningful. We invite a sense of balance and peace into our lives. Imagine the time and energy we'd save if we didn't constantly say yes to things that don't serve us. That space we create, it's room for the things that bring real value to us. The deep conversations, the hobbies we've always wanted to explore, or even the simple pleasure of a quiet afternoon. We give ourselves the chance to nurture relationships that inspire us and contribute positively to our lives, instead of draining us. And it's in this space, this intentional living, that we find true connection, both with ourselves and with those we love. Let's remind ourselves, saying no doesn't close doors, it opens them. It opens the door to a life lived with intention, where we're fully present for the things that matter most. It allows us to give our time, not out of obligation, but out of a genuine desire to engage in meaningful ways. And in doing so, we foster stronger, more authentic connections, not only with others, but with ourselves. When we let go of the need to overcommit, we start to live a life that reflects who we are and what we value most. 6. Quitting unhealthy relationships. Today, we find ourselves reflecting on a topic that touches the core of our emotional well-being, the relationships we cultivate throughout our lives. It's something we all experience, navigating the complex landscape of friendships, familial ties, and professional connections. We often hold on to these relationships, sometimes out of habit, obligation, or the fear of being alone. We've all encountered situations where we invest time and energy into relationships that, over time, begin to drain us. These connections can leave us feeling unappreciated, disrespected, and even exhausted. It's essential to recognize that, while relationships can be incredibly fulfilling, they can also become detrimental to our mental and emotional health if they don't serve our best interests. Particularly as we grow older, we gain invaluable insights into what truly matters to us. By the time we reach our 60s, many of us realize that life is too fleeting to spend it in the company of those who don't enrich our experiences. It becomes increasingly clear that our emotional landscape should be filled with positivity and support. We need to take a moment to ask ourselves some crucial questions. Are these relationships genuinely uplifting? Do they align with our core values and aspirations? These reflections can serve as a powerful catalyst for change, guiding us toward the relationships that foster our growth rather than impede it. Imagine the profound impact of surrounding ourselves with individuals who elevate us, who inspire us to be our best selves, and who genuinely care for our well-being. When we embrace this idea, we begin to create a supportive network that can transform our lives in remarkable ways. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding, and they thrive in an environment where individuals celebrate each other's successes and encourage personal growth. By consciously choosing to invest our time and energy in these types of relationships, we foster an atmosphere that nurtures our happiness and emotional resilience. Now, let's not underestimate the difficulty that comes with letting go of unhealthy connections. It can be a daunting task to step away from relationships that have been part of our lives for so long. We might feel guilty or conflicted, but we must remember that distancing ourselves from negativity is not a sign of weakness. Rather, it's an affirmation of our self-worth. It takes immense courage to let go, but doing so opens the door to new opportunities and healthier interactions. This process of shedding toxic relationships can lead us to discover bonds that not only respect our boundaries, but also inspire us to reach for our dreams. It requires continuous effort and commitment. As we evolve as individuals, our needs and desires may change, and that's perfectly natural. We should allow ourselves the grace to reassess our connections regularly. This practice of introspection can help us identify those who continue to support our journey and those who may need to be released. Building a community that aligns with our values is not merely a task, but a rewarding journey in itself. It invites us to engage with people who challenge us, motivate us, and help us grow, creating an enriching environment where we can thrive together. Reflect on the impact they have on our overall well-being. Engaging with individuals who bring joy into our lives has the ability to uplift our spirits and foster a sense of belonging. These connections can provide us with the emotional support we need to navigate life's challenges and celebrate our achievements. Together, we create a vibrant community that reinforces our sense of identity and purpose. Each positive interaction adds to our reservoir of strength, reminding us that we are not alone in our experiences and that we have a network of support to rely on. It is a vital step towards self-discovery and self-love. It's not merely about eliminating negativity. It's about consciously curating a life filled with positivity, respect, and understanding. As we move forward in our lives, let's commit to fostering connections that enhance our emotional health and overall happiness. Number 7. Quitting neglecting my physical and mental health. For far too long, many of us have placed our careers, responsibilities, and daily obligations above our own well-being. We often think that sacrificing our health is a necessary trade-off to achieve our goals, but I assure you, the price we pay can be far too steep. As we navigate the complexities of life, especially as we reach pivotal milestones like turning 60, we must pause and reflect on our priorities. It is crucial to understand that neglecting our health not only impacts us personally, but also ripples through our relationships, our work, and the community around us. Maintaining a healthy lifestyle is not just a choice. It is a necessity for a vibrant and fulfilling existence. Physical activity is a cornerstone of this commitment. Regular exercise, whether through a simple daily walk or engaging in more vigorous workouts, serves as a powerful tool for not only enhancing our physical health, but also boosting our mental acuity. Imagine the invigorating feeling that accompanies those moments spent outdoors, breathing in fresh air and allowing our bodies to move freely. This isn't just about losing weight or building muscle, it's about reclaiming our vitality and embracing the energy that comes from staying active. We find that in these moments of movement, we experience not only a boost in physical strength, but also a surge in mental clarity and emotional well-being. We must also nurture our mental well-being to truly thrive. Incorporating mindfulness practices into our daily routines is a transformative step that many of us overlook. Techniques such as meditation and gratitude allow us to connect with ourselves on a deeper level. Imagine dedicating just a few minutes each day to quiet reflection, allowing our minds to settle and embracing the peace that follows. It's in these moments of mindfulness that we uncover profound insights about ourselves and our place in the world. It requires a commitment to both physical activity and mental nurturing, creating a balanced lifestyle that enhances our overall quality of life. As we share this journey together, let us inspire one another to take those necessary steps towards better health. We owe it to ourselves, to our loved ones, and to our communities to prioritize our well-being. 8. Quitting procrastination on personal goals. Time is an elusive companion, isn't it? As we journey through life, we often find that the years seem to accelerate, leaving us to wonder where all that time went. Many of us reach certain milestones, like turning 60, and reflect on the dreams we once held dear. We think about the goals we set for ourselves. Perhaps we envisioned learning a new language, embarking on exciting travels, or finally wrapping up those long-neglected projects that seem to linger like shadows in the back of our minds. As we pause to consider our lives, we realize that these aspirations deserve more than mere acknowledgement. They require action. It's time we recognize that the moment to pursue our passions is not some distant tomorrow, but today, right now, in this very instant. We often fall into the trap of telling ourselves, "I'll get to that eventually." We convince ourselves that we need more time, better conditions, or perhaps just a little more inspiration before we take that leap. Yet, let's be honest, those perfect conditions rarely present themselves. Life has a way of presenting challenges and distractions that can easily derail even the best intentions. What we must realize is that these circumstances are not the real barriers. It's our fear of failure, uncertainty, and the unknown that often holds us back. Consider for a moment what it means to take that first step. It may seem daunting, but every great journey begins with a single action. Imagine the thrill of picking up that instrument you've always wanted to play, or dusting off those travel guides and planning a trip to a destination that has always called to you. We often overlook the incredible power of small actions. Each one brings us closer to our dreams. It's about making a series of small, consistent decisions that lead us to where we want to be. With each step we take, we begin to build momentum, and that momentum fuels our confidence, propelling us further along our path. When we actively engage in pursuing our personal goals, we breathe life back into our daily routines. It's not just about achieving milestones. It's about cultivating a sense of joy and fulfillment in our lives. The excitement of learning something new or completing a project can ignite a passion that transforms how we experience each day. Instead of feeling like life is simply passing us by, we start to feel like active participants in our own stories. This newfound sense of purpose can infuse every moment with meaning, reminding us that we are capable of growth and change at any age. It's crucial to understand that every moment is an opportunity for growth. Life is too precious to spend waiting for the right time to chase our dreams. There's a beauty in the present, in the now, that we often overlook while we're busy planning for the future. The truth is, the time we have is limited, and every day that passes is a chance missed if we choose to sit back and let it slip away. Let's be the architects of our own lives, designing a future filled with experiences that bring us joy and fulfillment. We can create a life that resonates with our values and passions, and it starts with a simple decision: to stop procrastinating and start pursuing our dreams. Shake off the inertia of waiting and step boldly into action. It's time to take stock of what truly matters to us and prioritize those aspirations above all else. The dreams we hold in our hearts are waiting to be brought to life, and all it takes is a willingness to take that first step. We owe it to ourselves to reignite the fire of passion and purpose within us, ensuring that our lives are filled with intention and meaning. 9. Quitting the fear of change. For a significant portion of our lives, we may have clung tightly to the familiar, to the routines and patterns that have become so ingrained in our existence. We find comfort in what we know, even if those things no longer serve our best interests. But here's the profound realization we must embrace together. Change should not be viewed as something to fear. Rather, it should be seen as a golden opportunity for growth and transformation. As we navigate through the various phases of life, whether it involves shifts in our health, transitions in our relationships, or unexpected alterations in our circumstances, we have the chance to approach these moments with a sense of curiosity and excitement. Imagine standing at the threshold of a new experience. Instead of viewing it as a daunting challenge, Let's frame it as an invitation to evolve, to learn, and to expand our horizons. Each time we face change, we are granted the unique opportunity to rediscover ourselves, to challenge our limits, and to redefine what is possible. We can choose to see change not as a threat to our stability, but as a pathway leading us to new and exhilarating experiences. 10. Quitting irregular sleep patterns. We often convince ourselves that we can get by on just a few hours of rest, believing that we can make up for it later. But the truth is, this approach can have serious consequences, not just for our bodies, but for our minds and spirits as well. The profound impact that sleep, or lack thereof, has on our well-being. It's not merely about feeling groggy in the morning. Poor sleep can significantly affect our mood, creativity, and productivity. When we neglect our need for restorative rest, we're not just tired, we become less engaged, less focused, and less effective in everything we do. It can even impact our relationships, as fatigue often leads to irritability and frustration. It starts with making a conscious decision to embrace a regular sleep schedule. By going to bed and rising at the same time every day, we help our bodies regulate their internal clocks. This simple yet powerful change can lead more profound and restorative sleep cycles. Consider our sleep environment. Creating a sanctuary for rest is essential. This means making our bedrooms a calming oasis, free from distractions. We can dim the lights, lower the temperature, and eliminate noise, allowing our bodies to unwind fully. Think of it as giving ourselves permission to let go of the day's stresses. Our bedtime habits. Engaging in relaxing activities before sleep, like reading, meditating, or enjoying a warm cup of herbal tea, can signal to our bodies that it's time to wind down. By turning off screens at least an hour before bed, we allow our minds to transition into a state of relaxation, making it easier to drift off into a deep, restorative sleep. When we commit to prioritizing sleep, we're not just investing in our health, we're enhancing our overall quality of life. We begin to wake up with a renewed sense of enthusiasm and optimism, ready to embrace the day's challenges with vigor. 11. Quitting comparing myself to others. Comparison is the thief of joy. How many of us have found ourselves caught in the trap of measuring our worth against the lives of others? Whether it's in our careers, the things we own, or even our physical appearances, we can become consumed by the lives of those around us. This never-ending cycle of comparison can chip away at our self-esteem and foster feelings of inadequacy. It can feel like a heavy burden that drags us down, leading us to doubt our own journey. But as we navigate through life, especially as we gather wisdom with age, we have the incredible opportunity to liberate ourselves from this mindset and to truly embrace the beauty of our individual paths. When we come to understand that each of our journeys is distinct and invaluable, we begin to shift our perspective. For many, reaching the milestone of 60 years opens a new chapter in life, one where we start to appreciate the wealth of experiences that have shaped us. Instead of viewing ourselves through the lens of others' achievements, we can celebrate the richness of our own stories. Every setback, every victory, and every moment in between contributes to the unique tapestry of who we are. By focusing on the beauty of our own journey, we can cultivate a sense of fulfillment that isn't dependent on external comparisons. We can look back and see how far we've come, learning to recognize the strength we've built along the way. This newfound perspective fosters an inner peace and allows us to find joy in our own achievements, no matter how big or small they may seem. Now, let's talk about cultivating gratitude and self-acceptance in our lives. Rather than letting the success of others diminish our sense of self-worth, we can shift our focus to learning from their journeys. Every person has their own timeline, and each accomplishment is a testament to hard work and perseverance. By seeing others as sources of inspiration instead of benchmarks for our own worth, we open ourselves to new possibilities. We begin to understand that our unique experiences, our friendships, our insights, and the lessons learned through adversity are what truly define us. Gratitude helps us to recognize these elements and appreciate the richness of our own lives. This transformative process liberates us from the chains of comparison, allowing us to embrace our individuality and to honor our personal growth. As we conclude, letting go of these 11 things after turning 60 has opened up new possibilities for a more intentional and fulfilling life. It's about focusing on what truly matters and embracing this exciting chapter with renewed joy and purpose. For those of you approaching or living this stage, we invite you to think about what you might release to live more freely and meaningfully. Our time is too precious to be tied to things that no longer support our happiness. We'd love to hear from you. Share your personal stories or reflections in the comments below. If this video resonated with you, please like it, share it with others who might benefit, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. Let's keep growing together.